Just maybe in gathering ourselves, bringing the mind in the here and now. And invoking Mother's and Aurobindo presence. So I think I don't know, just correct me, I don't know where we stopped last. So is it here that we have to start today? This we had done, I remember.
Yeah, so attacks from adverse force by adverse force. There were two passages on that. So those two were done. One you had done, one I had done. So we have to do the whole made by boasting. Captain, if you could please confirm that.
Yeah, confirmed.
Okay.
So we'll start with the whole made by boasting.
Okay. Okay. So let's read. Anyone who wants to read, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start. The whole made by boasting. In their relation with human beings, the hostile forces take a very wicked pleasure in testing them. For example, if you are not extremely strong and extremely sincere, and you tell yourself, "Oh, I am sure of my faith." This, for instance, among many other things, immediately something happens which is going to try to shake your faith completely. This is one. I suppose that is their diversion, their amusement. How many times when someone boasts, it may be very childishly, but when someone boasts about something, "Oh, I am sure of that. I shall never make that mistake." Immediately, I see a hostile formation passing there like that, and it enters by the little hole made by the boasting. It enters within like that and then penetrates and so prepares everything for you to do exactly what you didn't want to. But this is an amusement. It is certainly not to help you to progress. Mother laughs. But if you know how to take it, it does help you to progress. You say, "Good, another time I won't boast."
Yeah, thank you. Seems like divine comedy. Yeah. Yeah. So any thoughts are welcome. इसका टाइटल होना चाहिए कि अपनी छाती में होल्स कैसे करें. A shortcut method to kind of stab yourself. And we all of us do that. It's like something we all have tasted. So it's very interesting to see how mother says that as if you're forming a hole, and through that hole some dark formation is entering you. सबका मुंह बंद करा दिया मदर ने. अंजलि जी, you are muted.
I was just thinking the number of situations in which we boast, and I think it's so subtle that you have to be all the time. The one praises, अरे नहीं नहीं आप तो बहुत अच्छी हैं, आप जैसा इंसान तो बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता है. उसी समय वहां पर उसके सेंटेंस को फुल स्टॉप लगा देना चाहिए. अभी तुम्हें पता नहीं है कितनी गलतियां, कितनी डार्क मेरे अंदर है. तो वो उसको वहीं पर स्टॉप कर दे, इससे पहले कि हम बोस्ट वाली सिचुएशन में पहुंचे कि हाँ हाँ हाँ. तो हर मोमेंट पर अपने अहंकार को, वो स्पिरिचुअल जो अहंकार होता है, उसको पहचानना बहुत जरूरी होता है. एंड at present I am struggling with, I don't know why, this may be the influence of adverse forces कि consciousness थोड़ी low है, तबीयत ठीक होती, ये है ये है ये है, but keep on chanting the name and aspiration, and I just got the message of mother which was so pertinent for me. I highlighted it and just happy to attend the class. Yes.
Yeah, anybody else?
In fact, when we keep our door open of the mind, so there are so many things it enters, and there are some hostile forces. So they come inside, and they also enter along with so many other things, and they find some corner and try to hide, and at the opportune time they attack us. So because there are so many things, because I kept my open mind, I'm a very open-minded person. So that when the door is open, so anything and everything comes inside. And these adverse forces, because I am trying to move on that path, so it will not be easy for the hostile forces to attack. So they will try to find some hiding place inside me, and they will be there. And when they get the chance, an opportunity, and then they come out and create problem. So the boasting, even when I realized that it is ego consciousness, actually, I tried myself to get away from it. Actually. Yes, like in I was in defense, so there are so many things where I have performed, but somebody wanted to say good things about this. There is nothing anybody would have been there in my place also would have done, because the very fact that I am holding the chair, I just got the responsibility. I have to put my full force, whatever I could do, and I have done. So there is nothing that I have to boast. Anybody would have been there, probably would have done better than me, or exactly like me, or something. I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Say like nowadays, because of the election is coming and all that, media has become very strong. So every time, every sentence, everything is happening. If it is rain, also they will say because of Prime Minister it is raining. Because of this is raining and all. So unnecessarily, there anything you read in the WhatsApp messages and all, they will say that so and so we have got 100+ medals. That was possible only because of our Prime Minister. Something like that. Anything and everything. If it is raining after a long time, they say it is raining because of our Prime Minister. And the last sentence will be this. So similarly, means we are inviting the problem for ourselves.
True, true, very true. As Aurobindo says in Savitri, this mortal creature is his own biggest foe. We are our own enemies actually, and this is why people, masters, mystics over years and centuries and kind of yugas, they have placed so much of importance on knowing our true self, because it is ignorance that is causing me to be an enemy of myself. I don't know what harm I am doing by my actions, my speech, my behavior. I feel that it is going to get me happiness, but all of that turns against me actually and brings me lots of misery rather than happiness. So it's amazing. I mean, Savitri is such a amazing thing that has happened to us, because on earth, because everything Sri Aurobindo has written, each and every little part of human life that we go through. So this thing, that how we, and there are these few lines which I am remembering today on how it boasting kind of makes a hole and dark forces enter within us. And you would have seen, जब भी कोई हमारी प्रेस करता है, लाइक अभी अंजलि जी बता रही थी, है ना, कि आप बहुत अच्छे हैं या जो भी है, तो होता क्या है कि इफ वी आर नॉट कॉन्शियस, rather than giving it all to the mother, and it's because of mother's force that we are able to do whatever we are able to do, and what good people see in us is the power of that force only. Same in others and same in me, nothing really special about me. So if we are not conscious about this, then we see that we are doing a kind of a rumination of those good praises that have come to me. Like you enjoy swimming in those words and sentences that people have said about you, that oh, you are so good, or you have done so like so much for the society, or helping so many people. So you begin to ruminate in those thoughts. When we are beginning to ruminate in those thoughts, then we are identifying with those thoughts, you know and for a moment we are not that presence of consciousness or awareness which is looking at those thoughts, but we become those thoughts, we believe in those thoughts, and we lose it, like we are swept away. And then suddenly, if a couple of days after that or whatever, you get a comment that, oh, look how stupid a person are you, or how foolish, then also we take it seriously, because in the good times we were not really very careful, we were not vigilant of taking our stance. So that is why Kabir ji has said, दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे ना कोई. दिस इज सुख, क्योंकि सुख में आपको जो अच्छी अच्छी थॉट्स हैं, जो आपके लोगों ने आपके बारे में अच्छा अच्छा बोला हुआ है, उसके बारे में आपको जुगाली करके बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. तो सुख में हम सुमिरन नहीं कर पा रहे. सुख में आई एम नॉट टेकिंग स्टांस एज आई एम द वन लुकिंग एट दीज मूवमेंट्स इन मी. नो, क्योंकि इतना मजा आ रहा है उसमें, यू आर स्वेप्ट अवे. एंड दैट इज वाई दुख में एकदम से दुख आ जाता है, और वो कहते हैं कि दुख काहे का होए, अगर सुख में सुमिरन करेगा तो दुख आएगा नहीं. सो इन सुख, if you have that detached stance as the consciousness looking at the movements of thoughts and feelings, then it is not possible that you fall into the dukh which comes by the disappointment of why those people are saying these negative things about me. So this is what we call yogic equality or equanimity, because which comes as the more and more we take stance as consciousness, as the witnessing Purusha, more and more, and whatever are happenings on the surface, you are detached from it. Slowly we gain that true consciousness where the happenings are just happenings, and we are not moved by them. So as mother is sharing, that if you can make use of that boasting, and if it has done a hole and you have been attacked by that adverse force, and now you realize what kind of a stupidity it was, then actually we can make a progress through it. So mother says we should know how to take it. That oh, अभी तो बोला था मैंने कल परसों किसी को कि देख मेरा फेथ तो अनशेकेबल है, और अब देखो आज मैं किस परिस्थिति से निकल रही हूँ. So we have to learn through our errors, and we all will commit errors. Now it is impossible to say that I will not commit it. So that is also I think boasting. That oh, मेरे से अब error नहीं होगा. That would be again boasting. So knowing that as long as ignorance is there, we will commit stupidities and falsities and errors. The best is that how can I take it as a part of my progress, है ना, क्योंकि अब मैं उसके होने से तो नहीं रोक सकती. स्टुपिडिटी मैं करूंगी ये मुझे पता है, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं एक ब्लाइंडनेस आ जाती है, कर्टन आ जाता है, और उस बहाव में आके आप कुछ कर देते हो, बोल देते हो. आपको लगता है आप ट्रुथ कॉन्शियसनेस से बोल रहे हो, बट नहीं, इट्स एन ईगो कॉन्शियसनेस. So now the thing is that in retrospect, how do I take it for my progress in the journey? Maybe it grounds me more, and makes me bow down a little. थोड़ा सा नमन लाए मेरे में, humility लाए, because it puts me back on ground. So it's very interesting and feels like actually a divine comedy happening. क्या क्या हरकतें हम करते हैं. So there are few lines of Savitri which I am remembering. Let's read, because here Sri Aurobindo shares that in ourselves we nurse these lethal forces, and how they creep and gnaw, and as if they eat us from inside, because we let them pass through inside of us, like how boasting makes a hole and it goes within us, and then we ruminate and chew upon, and we are actually eating upon our own peace and sanity, nursing these forces. So let me uh, bring it up for all of us. Just a moment. Yeah, if there is any reflection at the moment, please keep sharing.
I just wanted to know whether all these news these days, Israel, Hamas, seeing these news, this also, like Captain Saab was saying, that adverse forces have hidden in ourselves. And when these types of news come and we curious about reading what happened, what happened, what happened, and they definitely deplete, disturb the mind, peace of mind, and it's difficult to concentrate. So what to do with this? Because you have to be aware about the word also, news.
I don't know actually what to do. I find for me, first of all, I don't read much news. But if one gets to know, since आजकल इतना ज़्यादा सोशल मीडिया इम्पैक्ट है, कहीं ना कहीं आपको पता लग जाएगा कि कुछ हो रहा है. तो अगर पता लग ही जाता है, मुझे लगता है कि हम जो बेस्ट कर सकते हैं, दैट इज टू प्रे फॉर एवरीवन्स पीस एंड सैनिटी. अगर पता लग ही रहा है, मतलब सिंस यू आर सेइंग कि अच्छा पता तो होना चाहिए क्या चल रहा है, मुझे लगता है दिस इज. एंड मदर ऑल्सो टॉक्स अबाउट पावर ऑफ प्रेयर्स. And at one time, mother used to say to the sadhaks in the ashram that you don't need to go to visit an ailing relative who is not well. Actually, the power of prayers and power of your formations is much more. So do that, no, rather than being worried about it or being anxious about it. So मुझे लगता है, of course everyone can share, but I feel that if I get to know of these happenings which are not really very nice and sad and should not happen, the best that we can do is continue to work upon ourselves, because we also want to be one drop of poison less. And secondly, to pray, because people are suffering.
Right. Thank you.
Actually, the news, at times I see, and the newspapers also I try to read. But basically, in the newspaper, there may be some 28 pages or something and all that. But only the editorial page, and there is a speaking tree page in Times of India.
That is the main thing.
Only that much only I read. And rest all just glance the headlines. Without specs, I can read them, the headlines. And you can imagine yourself, actually, and even in the WhatsApp messages are coming, the news are so ghastly, this thing they are showing. It does not appear that they are human beings, the way the torture and other things are taking place and they are showing. So I get so much of disturbed, actually, mental peace get disturbed, and also I delete them immediately. And I try to ask that person if he's known to me. I said, why are you sending such things, actually? Because it has not, you have not seen yourself. Somebody has forwarded, or you have taken it from somewhere and you're sending it. What peace of mind you're getting by forwarding this? There is no background, nothing of that sort, but you're showing something. That is some women who has been taken custody and all. They are holding by hair and pulling her and all this. Again and again, they're showing the same thing.
So mother, that is why mother named the place where people used to keep newspaper. There was a place in the ashram, some of us may know, where newspapers were kept somewhere in the library or maybe somewhere aside. And mother named that place the Hall of Falsehood. She did not want people to, actually, but Sri Aurobindo used to read newspapers. Of course, but see, again, we cannot compare ourselves to Sri Aurobindo at all, right?
Right?
Because he is making action in that,
In
making some positive change, or, trying to do some work. But what happens to us, we are like sponges. I feel that we are like saplings. And we have to fence and protect ourselves for a very very long time and give lots of nurture. अगर पढ़ना ही है तो क्यों ना सावित्री पढ़े, पढ़ना ही है तो क्यों ना हम इंस्पिरेशनल लाइव्स पढ़े, पवित्रा दा, ऑल दी. तो पढ़ना ही है तो क्यों ना अच्छी चीजें पढ़ें, क्योंकि हमारी जो चित्त है, जो हमारा कॉन्शियसनेस है, it gets swayed by these happenings. We can't make a positive change there. और अगर इतना एटीट्यूड है कि नहीं पढ़ना है, नहीं पता होना चाहिए क्या है, then to take it in that manner that अच्छा ये सब हो रहा है, now so much important is that I work on myself, because we don't want beings like, totally in ignorance creating havoc on this earth. There are enough beings like that. So that should propel us to work on ourselves and do good and kind and whatever deeds to other people. So, uh, yeah, to each his own. I think everyone has their own journey. तो अगर किसी को है newspaper में interest, we
No,
can't.
I'm not that much, but I what I observed, and I just wanted to know group's opinion also about
हाँ,
that. That disturbs. That in fact I stopped my newspaper. Please don't give me a newspaper. There's
yeah,
no use of newspaper.
yes, yes, yes. तो वही है कि या तो इतनी स्ट्रेंथ आ गई हो कि हम श्री अरबिंदो बन गए एंड देन वी आर
हाँ
एक्सर्टिंग इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन दीज हैपनिंग्स, वो तो हो नहीं रहा, वी ऑल नो वेरी वेल। तो फिर क्यों अपने आप को और ला दें जब ऑलरेडी ये मन इतना भारी हो जाता है टाइम टू टाइम, उसी पे काम करना इतना मुश्किल है। तो क्यों हमको और पूरी दुनिया की जो ट्रबल्स हैं जिसमें हम कुछ पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे, उसमें क्यों अपने आप को लादते जाएं और नेगेटिव करें। Of course, as I said, that if we can make a positive impact, knowing that how much people suffer on this planet, then we should pray. Make it maybe a daily routine that the moment you get a news about some bad happening, send positive energy and pray for that place or people there. That is what we can do. Should do at least. मतलब वो तो हमारे हाथ में है, वो तो कर सकते हैं। तो जो कर सकते हैं वो क्यों ना करें। So yes, let's go through these lines of Savitri where how we become our own enemies, he says. So here actually Queen, I think some of us may know what is the context. So here the Canto 2, Book 7, the Canto 2, Way of Fate and the Problem of Pain. It's one of the most beautiful cantos I find, because it's very like we have tasted all this. So here the queen, who is the mother of Savitri, she is complaining as if to Narad, who is there in their kingdom. She is saying कि ये क्या हालत है हमारी, बहुत बुरी हालत है, मतलब कौन सा गॉड है, कहाँ छुप के बैठा है, इतनी सफरिंग, इतना पेन, ये हमारी हालत है. So she is describing that condition, human condition, which is actually true, which we are in. And then of course after that Narad replies that why is it like that? Actually we make our own self our own enemies. So but right now what we are going to read is what I believe Queen is sharing with Narad, that this is who we are. So he says, Queen shares, a grisly company of maladies come licensed lodgers. So as if somebody is giving them license कि आ जाओ, है ना. तो जैसे हम अपनी वरीज होती हैं, परेशानियां होती हैं, कितने ऐसा आराम से हम उनके बारे में सोचते हैं कि अरे ये तो करना ही है मैंने, है ना. तो किसी ने उसको लाइसेंस दिया हुआ है. Come license lodgers into man's bodily house, purveyors of death and torturers of life. So they supply material to death and torture life, these lodgers that we allow within. In the malignant hollows of the world, in its subconscious cavern passages, ambushed they lie, waiting their hour to leap, surrounding with danger the sieged city of life. So this is our city of life, the whole being, the body that we are. And we have let them in through our senses, and now they are just waiting for their hour to show themselves up. Ambushed they lie, waiting for their hour to leap, surrounding with danger the sieged city of life. Admitted into the citadel of man's days, they mine his force and maim or suddenly kill. Ourselves within us, lethal forces nurse. We make of our own enemies our guests. Out of their holes, like beasts, they creep and gnaw the chords of the divine musician's lyre, till frayed and thin the music dies away, or crashing snaps with a last tragic note. So what we do is that this instrument, as Kabirji says, has been given to us, that it can be played into the divine tunes. ये तन थाट तंबूरे का, एचत टार मरोड़त खूंटी, निक्सत राग हजूरे का. So that is also its possibility, but what it does is that it allows all these negative poisonous things to enter into ourselves, and they are eating up that music or that instrument that we are provided with. That's how depression enters into our mind. कि ऐसी चीजों के बारे में सोचने लग जाते हैं और इतना ज्यादा सोचने लग जाते हैं कि कोई कंट्रोल ही नहीं है, एंड इट टेक्स अस डाउन एंड डाउन एंड डाउन, and as if there is no return. So we, out of their holes like beasts, they creep and gnaw. So they are eating up our instrument, our being from within. The chords of the divine musician's lyre, till frayed and thin the music dies away, or crashing, snaps with the last tragic note. All that we are is like a fort beset. This again comes into Kabirji's terminology. He says that we are like a palace, we are like a fort. You know? So he says, all that we are is like a fort beset, all that we strive to be alters like a dream in the grey sleep of matter's ignorance. Mind suffers, lamed by the world's disharmony. So this would refer to what Anjali ji was sharing right now. That how things are happening which make you so disturbed. So mind suffers, lamed by the world's disharmony, and there is a world within us and there is a world outside of us. Both are very disharmonious. So it makes the mind suffer. And the unloveliness of human beings. That why human beings are, so negative. Why can't they be better? A treasure misspent or cheaply, fruitlessly sold in the bazaar of a blind destiny, a gift of priceless value. So, this is our unique, precious human life, which either we can make good use of or we can destroy. So, in the a gift of priceless value from time's gods, lost or mislaid in an uncaring world. Life is a marvel missed, an art gone dry. So this is like, it pains your heart when you go through these lines, because this is what actually we do. We waste our precious human life engaging in such battles which in retrospect appear like childish and blameworthy and cheap. They are so mean, these egoistic battles, and not only at the level of human beings, but they escalate, like we are talking about these news nowadays. They escalate, and now at the level of nations, where so many precious lives get destroyed for just a petty ego clash. तूने मेरा बॉर्डर क्यों तोड़ा, या तूने मेरा रिलीजन क्यों नहीं माना, तूने अपना क्यों माना. तो ये छोटे स्केल से शुरू होती हैं ये चीजें, और ये बड़े स्केल पे they develop, and that is why Aurobindo says that true harmony can only be found when we have supramental consciousness, and for that each one of us has to work so that we are united with our true consciousness. So I think these kind of things propel us and compel us कि भैया अपने पे तो काम कर लें. अच्छा, वर्ल्ड का कुछ नहीं कर सकते, बट अपने पे तो कर सकते हैं. Yeah. So anything here, anyone?
Yeah. So, as I was reading these lines, actually, I experienced something recently, as recent as yesterday. So, I was coming back from office and I had to cross a road. And I actually crossed the road, and I don't really remember what happened, but I slipped and I fell. I tripped and fell. And it was late. I was trying to get back home, and there was nobody around. So suddenly there was this person, this auto person who came. He said, "You come wherever you want to go, we'll go." And then he got me in, and he waited for a long time with me until I got another cab. And this cab person was being extremely rude. I'm saying I'm not able to walk. You drop me inside the hospital. And then he's saying, no, 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 I have another pickup. I have to go. And he dropped me somewhere else. And then I had to walk back. I was not able to walk. So I had to sort of limp and I had to get inside the hospital, wherever it is. So, and then, as I was sitting inside, like just outside the hospital in that security's chair, like what Aurobindo had written about, like those lines of Savitri, right? So it was like a movie. It was just so many of these small insincerities which has creeped in, which I could have easily cleared out by my own if I sat and introspected, and I felt as that something that was wrong. But after this fall happened, it was just like, oh, really? Like, it was so bad inside. It is like I've opened it up so much for it to cause like such a damage, and only then I realized that there was so much dirtiness inside. And yeah, and like that uncaringness of human things was very hard to bear, because like, how can a human being behave like that? Because someone is in pain, and your natural reaction is to help that person, especially when you have the means to help. So yeah, this I don't know. It was like I got played. So I look back, I wish to say that it wasn't me at all. So the amount of dirty, the amount of dirtiness that I saw inside.
Yeah, yeah. Aurobindo shares, no, about when he talks about the surface consciousness on which these things happen. He says, this is just rephrasing it. He says, this is the present condition of man. He is this and much more. Just like you said, I wish it wasn't me. But he says that the journey doesn't stop there. This is just like this part of the picture. We are this, and yet a lot of it which, like, would वो iceberg से compare करते हैं कि we just see the tip of the iceberg and so much is subliminal which we don't know that we are. Yeah. And again, in your case, like, as Sri Aurobindo says, वो किसी को हुआ था ना, कोई maybe you must have heard, कोई sadhak, I think he got injured on his leg somewhere, and when he told it to Sri Aurobindo, he said that अभी cheap bargain, सस्ते में छूट गया, अभी बहुत बड़ा कुछ होने वाला था. So again, if अगर गिरने से और अभी now you are conscious and everything is fine, अगर उससे ही अगर है ना हमें समझ में आ जाए, so it's actually a cheap bargain, really. Yeah. And I think we have to take it as a part of our life that blindness तो देखो रहेगी बहुत टाइम तक, है ना. अब ये है कि धक्कों को, ब्लोज को, happenings of life, circumstances of life which are like on our face, like you shared, उनको किस तरीके से हम ले पाए अपने प्रोग्रेस के लिए, है ना. That is why Sri Aurobindo talks about the Aryan spirit, or we talk about heroic heart or सूरमा of Kabir, क्योंकि उसके लिए बहुत जिगरा चाहिए होता है, उसके लिए बहुत करेज चाहिए होती है to take it on our face and to say that yes, I faltered and let me just learn through it and correct. As mother says, dust off your pants and just make the necessary progress and go further. Don't keep looking back of guilt and shame and everything. That has no place. Yeah, to make the necessary progress and go forward. Yeah. Knowing that this is going to be our condition for a very long time. And I think that makes me empathize also with when other people falter, no? जब खुद गिरते हैं और पता लगता है अरे ठीक ही तो है, अच्छा है भटके थे और बता दिया किसी ने कि भटक रहे हो. तो जब दूसरे भी गिरते हैं तो फिर हम उनको नीची नजरों से नहीं देख पाते, लगता है कि ये तो पार्ट ऑफ प्रोसेस ही है ना. Yeah. And regarding being unwell also, or not okay in our life, I have seen lots of things to learn from Tara Didi here, because what she does is I've seen that she never encourages or will ask question about how are you doing, especially when people are unwell. It's very rare that she would ask, because I feel that is very good, because then you are not like कि ओ मेरा प्यारा बच्चा अच्छा गिर गया था तो आप उसमें क्या हो रहा है कि उसमें बच्चे को जब आप गिरने पे या बीमार होने पे बच्चे को बहुत ज्यादा अटेंशन दे रहे हो, तो बच्चे को बड़ा मजा आता है, उसको लगता है वाह अब मिली अटेंशन जो इतने टाइम से चाहिए थी. तो उसमें बच्चे हमें पता भी नहीं लगेगा, बिकॉज ऑफ अवर कैप्रीस, बिकॉज ऑफ द कैप्रीस ऑफ द वाइटल which seeks attention from time to time, we will not even get to know that it will get into the subconscious, and the child or the adult will want to fall sick again and again and wanted to get attention from the other person, कि ये उसका प्यार का तरीका है कि हाँ कितना प्यार मिल रहा है, now I know that I am somebody. So I have seen that she never, maybe it's my perception, but I think that's what I see, that she would not excessively ask about anybody's health or how are you doing, and neither she encourages the question if somebody asks her that how are you doing, she would say what kind of a question is that, मतलब ठीक ही है मदर की दुआ है सब ठीक है. तो मतलब ये क्वेश्चन ही आउट ऑफ पिक्चर है, because mother also shares on physical education, when on education in the physical and vital part, mother shares that these kind of things of getting sick and जल्दी से हो जानी चाहिए, मतलब कि गिरे और अच्छा ठीक ही तो है, साफ करो और गेट अप, लाइक दैट. And this I saw also recently. Tara Didi's younger brother, so they were like 5 sisters and 5 brothers. So one of the younger brothers, Kakeda, who was also a kind of a very magnanimous person, very quiet usually, but a very magnanimous person, ashram mein teacher bhi rahe, and his idea of how to recover from sickness and illness when he was working with children was that when you are in pain, now of course don't take it like a formula. I'm just sharing, what I just read and resonated with. He said that when you are in pain, actually keep exercising, because that part presses upon the body, that pain presses upon the body, and somehow it just the body recovers. And I resonated with that a lot, because I had a buaji who, when she used to get a fever, because she was also a karma yogi, or karmat type, she would take a bath. हम तो दूर भागते हैं पानी से जब हमको, एंड एक्चुअली इट इज ट्रू, बिकॉज नेचुरोथेरेपिस्ट वो होते हैं ना, जो वो कहते हैं कि जैसे ही आप फीवर में आप टेपिट बाथ लेते हो, 3 डिग्रीज आपका लोअर हो जाता है फीवर. 3 डिग्रीज इंस्टेंटली, 3-4 डिग्रीज, अगर 103 है तो वो 100 हो जाएगा. So again, you have to try, and we all have to try and experiment what works for us, what doesn't. But to know that no part of my being wants to be ill. I don't want to be ill. So this I have seen with Tara Didi, which inspires a lot. है ना, कि अगर बीमार हुए भी हो तो ऐसा नहीं है कि बीमार होना चाह रहे हैं, अरे ठीक ही तो है, थोड़ा आराम करने दो यार, इतना तो काम करते हैं रोज रोज. So enjoying the work that they are doing, and no part of the being is wanting to say that, oh, it's okay to be sick. And then you recover quickly, because I have seen कि एक दो बार जैसे old age है, मुश्किल होती है कुछ ना कुछ, and there is a strong will from inside which just does the recovery very quickly, to whatever degree, of course. The capacity is of course compromised, but
So it seems that whatever Kakeda had said has come to modern medicine also, because it seems so. Yesterday, after this one, so the doctor recommended I started physiotherapy today only. And my mother was saying, usually they do physiotherapy after it heals, after 2 weeks or something. This is like just after the day of the fall, you start this. And then that person, whoever came, she was saying that, nowadays people prefer that, because after the time of this one, your this willpower, or you're still in that action mode that, you want to get it over with fast. So if I do it today, you will experience more pain, but it will get over in 3-4 days. But if you keep it, let me rest, and then it will take like 2-3 weeks more. So it is actually happening. Happy to
beautiful.
note.
Yeah, very, very great. Good to hear. Yeah. Anything more here? Yeah, on the other hand, I'm reminded of something in the same similar lines. We, like, just like we say that truth can never be a formula. So it's very interesting that uh, Sri Aurobindo, talking about Vivekananda ji, he remarked that there was some question some rishi put up, and then Vivekananda, remarking on that question, he said, uh, so, just a second, actually I should not maybe doing it. Yeah, हाँ, ये देखो, ये वाला मैंने पढ़ा. सो आई वॉज रियली, अभी जैसे वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ बूस्टिंग राइट नाउ, राइट. तो अब वही है कि उसका फॉर्मूला नहीं बना सकते, उसको हर जगह नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते. तो यहाँ पे 2 एफोरिज्म्स हैं, एफोरिज्म 157, 58. तो यहाँ पे 10 said रामकृष्णा एंड 10 said विवेकानंदा. यस बट लेट मी नो ऑल्सो. नहीं, ये वाला नहीं था, सॉरी. देयर वाज अनदर थिंग. This was in different context. I wanted to share a different context where he's using the word that I, Vivekananda, have said this, something like that. Yeah, this one. This one. Yeah, so here there is a sadhu, Nag Mahashay. He is asking something, and then Vivekananda shares, the Pandit shares that, but Shankara does not say so. To which Vivekananda replied, no, Shankara does not say so, but I, Vivekananda, say so.
Says.
So I found it very interesting. Huh?
That was Vivekanand.
So he says, and the Pandit sank back amazed and speechless. That I, Vivekananda, stands up to the ordinary eye like a Himalaya of self confident egoism. But there was nothing false or unsound in Vivekananda's spiritual experience. This was not mere egoism, but the sense of what he stood for and the attitude of the fighter who, as the representative of something very great, could not allow himself to be put down or belittled. सो दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग बिकॉज अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं कि है ना बोस्ट नहीं करना चाहिए, और अब यहाँ पे पढ़ रहे हैं कि ये देखो विवेकानंद जी तो बोस्ट कर रहे हैं, बट श्री अरबिंदो कह रहे हैं कि अब वही अब बात करते हैं ना कि अगर वो यू डोंट हैव टू असर्ट योरसेल्फ, तो क्या इसका मतलब ये भी है कि स्टैंड नहीं लेंगे सही चीज के लिए? सो दिस इज नॉट करेक्ट, है ना. सो वी हैव टू सी कहाँ पे हम इगोइस्टिक कॉन्शियसनेस के लिए स्टैंड ले रहे हैं कि मैं राइट हूँ, मैं सही हूँ, और कहाँ हम सही चीज के लिए स्टैंड हो रहे हैं जो सबके हित में है, बेनिफिशियल है, और ट्रुथ के लिए स्टैंड ले रहे हैं. So again, I think using our discernment to not make these things like a formula. And I was reading something on maybe wanting to know whether Sri Aurobindo has said something on Paramhans Yogananda or not. So he, of course, has said something, again, context to context based. But here he shares that जो योगानंदा जी का जो formula है, say for example Kriya Yoga or whatever he says, he says that maybe in shorter run it can be applicable, but since every person is very different, so one formula can't be applied to everyone, and that is what actually we find true for us also, है ना, कि क्रिया योगा हो सकता है किसी के लिए काम कर जाए, as a part of, but again since we are different individualities, it cannot be, he was using the term that it cannot be like you teach spirituality in a class. So सबके लिए वो अलग अलग होगी जो teaching होगी. And that is what we see with Mother and Sri Aurobindo, that they have also said कि अगर वो letters to, है ना, letters on yoga में अगर किसी को कुछ दे रहे हैं suggestion, तो वो सबके लिए नहीं है suggestion, वो उस context में उस person के लिए suggestion है. तो उसको दवाई समझ के, पुड़िया समझ के मुंह में मत डाल लो. So it's very helpful, to not take it as a formula.
जैसे दिलीप कुमार रॉय को उन्होंने कहा कि यू कैन टेक, एंड सहाना दी को कि यू ईट योर डिजायर. तो सबके लिए अलग अलग. दैट इज व्हाई आई थिंक इंटीग्रल योगा इज फॉर every person. It's a different combination of vital and physical and mental formation. One has to understand where are our problems.
And
Right.
I think that is one of the reasons why in integral yoga, I think people who are really sincere in it, हमने अगर देखेंगे तो यहाँ पे हम गुरुज नहीं पाएंगे, है ना. We find only Mother and Sri Aurobindo as guru. We don't find, we may have mediators जो हमारे लिए language. हाँ, please.
Just want to share this, my experience of Paramhans Yoganand, Yogada. So when I was seeking seeking answers to my questions and quest, and I was going here and there and Yogada. So he sent me in one of the center at Allahabad. So I sat there for meditation. But when the mind is so perplexed, there's a turmoil, and you are saying that meditate करो, तो कहाँ से meditation होगा? Anyway, वो member बनाना चाहते थे. उसके बाद I happened to visit to रांची. और रांची में वहां पर बड़े से हॉल में वहां पर बिठाकर, और वही जैसे होता है ज्यादातर सब जगह कि ये करो, यहाँ सेंटर करो, जो टीच किया जाता है, तो वो कहीं से भी वो अपील नहीं किया, लगा नहीं कि हाँ वो है. तो इसी तरीके से ब्रह्मा कुमारी में भी, वहां पर भी हुआ. वहां तो हम लोग बड़े बड़े हॉल थे वहां पर कि यहाँ पर एक लाइट है, पॉइंट है, यहाँ पर सेंटर करो. तो लोग सो जाते थे. तो मेरी फ्रेंड कहे चलो चलो सुबह कहाँ चले, कहे सोने. So I was just mentioning about this Kriya Yoga. It does not suit for everybody. सबके लिए नहीं है.
और सेकेंडली
आयुर्वेद भी यही कहता है कि सबके लिए सब नहीं, सबकी प्रकृति अलग है.
बिल्कुल.
जो चीज आपके लिए, जैसे मैं एक और एक्सपीरियंस जस्ट वांटेड टू शेयर. हमने सुना कि हेल्थ के लिए बड़ा अच्छा होता है सुबह। तो एक ने कहा हम तो सुबह उठ के ठंडे पानी से नहाते हैं 4 बजे, उससे बॉडी एकदम सही रहती है। हमने कहा अच्छा, डिसिप्लिन होना चाहिए माइंड में। And I, in month of November, I just जाके नहा लिए। उसके बाद महीने भर, और वो मुझे पता चला तब आयुर्वेद पढ़ना शुरू किया कि प्रकृति जो है वो कोल्ड की है। तो उसमें सबके लिए 4 बजे का सुबह है, वो भी एकदम से जब सीजन चेंज हो रहा है जाकर सुबह नहा लिए। So just wanted to share this.
वेरी ट्रू, वेरी ट्रू। आई थिंक दैट इज वन ऑफ द रीजंस मे बी, जैसे मदर कहती है ना कि सबसे पहले द फर्स्ट थिंग इज गो डिग एंड फाइंड योर साइकिक बीइंग, क्योंकि उससे क्या है फिर इट गाइड्स, है ना,
हाँ
कि क्या चीज़ पकड़नी है, क्या चीज़ छोड़नी है। अच्छा ये ठीक है मेरे लिए, दिस इज हेल्पिंग मी, दैट इज नॉट रियली रेजोनेटिंग। सो अदरवाइज वो इतनी ज़्यादा ब्लाइंडनेस होती है कि कुछ भी कर। और मुझे लगता है कि एज श्योरबिंदो शेयर्स नो, देयर इज अ मीनिंग इन ईच कर्व एंड ईच लाइन। तो चाहे हमारे ये हाफ हार्टेड एक्सपीरियंसेस भी होते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ हमें दे जाते हैं, चाहे ये बता जाएं कि अच्छा इस रास्ते पे नहीं जाना, है ना।
राइट।
वो भी तो एक लर्निंग ही है कि अच्छा ये वाला नॉट रेजोनेटिंग मे बी राइट नाउ, है ना। Yeah.
राइट।
So what do we do? I'm not sure whether we. Yeah, now it's a altogether different, bigger heading that we are heading towards: courage, endurance, effort. If we want, we can also read at least today and start it, and then continue in the next one, or we stop here. Whatever is good to me, whatever we decide.
I think we
I
should
think you can continue.
Okay, so let's take this one, the first one.
I'll read this: courage, endurance, and effort. Courage, endurance, effort. Fear is an impurity. Fear is an impurity, one of the greatest impurities, one of those which come most directly from the anti-divine forces which want to destroy the divine action on earth. And the first duty of those who really want to do yoga is to eliminate from their consciousness, with all the might, all the sincerity, all the endurance of which they are capable, even the shadow of a fear. To walk on the path, one must be dauntless and never indulge in that petty, small, feeble, nasty shrinking back upon oneself, which is fear. And indomitable courage, a perfect sincerity, and a sincere self-giving, so that one does not calculate or bargain, does not give with the idea of receiving, does not trust with the idea of being protected, does not have a faith which asks for proofs. It is this that is indispensable in order to walk on the path, and it is this alone which can truly shelter you from all danger.
Thank you. Yes,
Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say that Lajja, Man, Bhoy, Teen Thakte Noy. Means if you are on this path, these three things, if you are shy and what is the, the man means you are worried about your prestige and things like that, and another is the fear. So these three, it is real the impurities actually. Here also the same thing. In English it is written. There in Bengali he said so. So to all his close disciples, he used to say that you have to get rid of this, then only you can come on this path.
Lajja, what was the second thing?
Man,
Man, respect.
Lajja, prestige.
Yes.
So going to the root of first, root of fear, तो अगर हम देखेंगे, ये बुद्धिज्म में भी बताते हैं कि जैसे दे डिस्कस आपस में आर्ग्यूमेंट जैसे होती हैं, कि एक कल्ट ये कह रहा है और दूसरा जो सेक्ट है वो ये कह रहा है, तो दे डिस्कस विच इज कंसिडर्ड गुड, लाइक दे इंडल्ज इन डिबेटिंग टू प्रूव द हाईएस्ट। तो उसमें वो कहते हैं कि एक साइड कह रही है कि इट इज नॉट दैट आप बिलीव कर रहे हो एक सेल्फ में जो कि एक्चुअली में है ही नहीं, कि आप अटैच होते हो, एक्चुअली में वो सेल्फ है, लेकिन जो प्रॉब्लम है वो अटैचमेंट में है ऑफ द थिंग्स, कि ये मेरे को बेनिफिट करेगा, ये मेरे को नहीं बेनिफिट करेगा, वहां प्रॉब्लम है। सेल्फ में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सेल्फ एग्जिस्ट करता है। तो जो दूसरी पार्टी है वो कहती है कि ये आप कैसे कह सकते हो कि सिर्फ अटैचमेंट में प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि अगर आप बिलीव कर रहे हो कि सेल्फ एग्जिस्ट करता है, तो ऐसा हो नहीं सकता कि आप ये नहीं बिलीव करोगे कि अरे ये मेरे लिए बेनिफिशियल है, ये मेरे लिए नहीं बेनिफिशियल है। तो फिर आप जैसे रेस्पेक्ट या लज्जा और फियर की बात हो रही थी कि आप कुछ चीजों से डरोगे और कुछ चीजों के पास जाओगे, अट्रैक्शन होगा, एवर्जन होगा। सो द अदर पार्टी इज टेकिंग गोइंग टू द रूट ऑफ दिस। वो कह रहे हैं कि जो फ्लॉ, हमारी जो इग्नोरेंस है, वो ये है कि हम वहां पे एक सेल्फ देख रहे हैं जहां पे एक्चुअली में एक सेल्फ है ही नहीं। Like we talk of ego, that ego actually is not there. So mother says ego is a falsehood, but we believe that it is there, कि यहाँ पे कोई है जिसको मुझे बचाना है ना। और उसी की वजह से वी एंटर इनटू फियर, क्योंकि अगर मुझे बचाना है तो दैट कैन गिव मी सम हार्म। तो ऑन अ लेवल ऑफ एनिमल इंस्टिंक्ट अगर हम देखें तो इस सब की जगह है, क्योंकि एक एनिमल को फॉरेस्ट में रहना है, उसको अपने आप को बचाना है, उसको अपने आप को सेफ रखना है। At the animal level, a little bit of fear has its place because of survival instinct. लेकिन और अच्छा वो मेरे खाने लायक है, वो मेरे खाने लायक नहीं है, so animal senses through its senses because it is all alone in the wilderness and has to fend for itself. लेकिन यही हम कैरी कर रहे हैं एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, और उसको हम छोड़ ही नहीं पा रहे हैं कि अच्छा उससे दूर रहना है। और लाइफ इंश्योरेंस क्यों? क्योंकि वो मुझे प्रोटेक्ट करके रखेगी। away from all those people or places which are very polluted. No, क्यों? क्योंकि that can attack me. So this sense of self in which we believe, बुद्धिज्म क्या करता है, वो इसकी रूट पे अटैक करते हैं कि आपको लग रहा है यहाँ पे एक सेल्फ है, बट एक्चुअली में है नहीं। एब्सोल्युटली इन स्पीकिंग यहाँ पे कुछ है नहीं। और अगर हम इसको देखेंगे तो एक्चुअली में ये मम्बो जम्बो नहीं है। क्वांटम फिजिक्स भी यही बता रही है कि आपको लग रहा है कि यहाँ पे कुछ सॉलिड है, बट यहाँ पे कुछ है नहीं। इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ माई सेंस परसेप्शन कि मेरे को लग रहा है यहाँ पे सॉलिड है। लेकिन अगर आप अंदर जूम करके देखोगे तो अंदर बिल्कुल वेवी थिंग्स हैं, अंदर कुछ नहीं है सॉलिड जिसको आप पकड़ पाओ। तो वो कहते हैं कि अगर मैं इस रूट पे अटैक नहीं करूंगा, जैसे मान लो हम किसी पर्सन को चाहते हैं, और यूजुअली हमारी चाहत ऐसी होती है कि इसको मैं ले लूं, इसको मैं आई शुड पोजेस दैट पर्सन और अवर चिल्ड्रन और अवर प्रॉपर्टी और वेल्थ और एनीथिंग, रेस्पेक्ट, इसकी बात हो रही थी, रेस्पेक्ट, नेम, फेम। और हम देखेंगे कि चाहे हम कितना भी उसको पोजेस करने की कोशिश करें, कुछ हाथ आता नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं आता। जैसे अच्छा अब पकड़ लिया, अब हम फुलफिल हो गए, ऐसा कुछ भी हाथ नहीं आता। आप बढ़ते चले जाते हो, और नशा आपका गहरा चला जाता है, बट आपके हाथ कुछ आता नहीं है जिससे आप भर जाओ। तो इसी में अगर हम इसको अटैक करेंगे, दैट देयर इज एक्चुअली नो सेंस ऑफ सेल्फ दैट आई नीड टू प्रोटेक्ट in the on the ultimate level, I think that also gives us that we can walk on the path of detachment. क्योंकि डिटैचमेंट में हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम कह रहे हैं कि वहां कुछ भी नहीं है ऐसा जहां से मुझे कुछ मिल पाए, जिसको मैं पकड़ूं और मिल पाए, क्योंकि वो दिखता है कि मैं पकड़ूंगा और मिल जाएगा, बट एक्चुअली में है नहीं। तो उससे फिर फियर भी हमारा पकड़ में आता है, क्योंकि फिर मैं यहाँ पे किसके लिए परेशान हो रहा हूँ, जैसे वहां पे नहीं है वैसे यहाँ पे भी तो नहीं है। बट अगेन दिस वी कैन टॉक इन एब्सोल्यूट टर्म्स, ये तो एब्सोल्यूट टर्म्स हो गई। रिलेटिव टर्म्स पे हमको समझ यूज करनी होती है, रीजन यूज करना होता है कि अच्छा रिलेटिव टर्म्स में ये है कि अगर सामने से कोई गाड़ी आ रही है तो मैं ये नहीं बोल सकती कि अरे वो नहीं है गाड़ी, गाड़ी है और मुझे अपने आप को बचाना है। So that is why mother says that for a long time we have to use our reason. Don't abandon reason before you get to the psychic, that the psychic takes over. Use reason. And then there comes a time actually in our all of our lives that अपने आप ही reason आपको लगता है यूजलेस हो गया अब, है ना, वो अपने आप ही छूट जाता है, लाइक इट्स उसकी अपने आप ही, जैसे वो पुरानी स्किन झड़ जाती है, तो वो जैसे जैसे हमारी ग्रोथ होती है वो रीजन अपने आप झड़ जाता है। तो रीजन को बिल्कुल ही हमको छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए जब तक एक हायर पावर हमारे अंदर एक्शन में नहीं है। उससे पहले तो अच्छा है कि ऐसी चीजों से वैरी रहो जो आपके लिए हित कर रही हैं, और ऐसी चीजों के पास जाओ जो आपके लिए हितकर हैं। बट अगेन देयर कम्स अ पावर ऑफ डिसर्नमेंट दैट वी हैव टू यूज, नो फॉर्मूला कैन बी मेड। क्योंकि अभी जैसे मदर कह रही है, हियर द लाइन दैट वी वर reading here, to walk on the path one must be dauntless and never indulge in that petty, small, feeble, nasty shrinking back upon oneself which is fear. So we will see that whenever we are fearful, we are actually thinking only about this little me. चाहे वो इलनेस आई है, मान लो आपका कोई डायग्नोसिस हुआ है और डॉक्टर आपको बता रहे हैं कि भाई ये कोई अच्छा डायग्नोसिस नहीं है, एंड व्हेन वी बिगिन टू थिंक अबाउट ओ अब मेरा क्या होगा, then we become fearful. So nasty shrinking back upon oneself, it makes us so limited that as if I am this little body, and if something is happening to the body, oh my god, what is happening to me. So it's actually very nasty if we have felt it in ourselves to be obsessed about this little me. And that is why mother shares also what जो काकेदा की हम बात कर रहे थे, mother also shares to Monada in the book The Supreme, Mona Sarkar, she shares कि उनको कुछ घुटने पे लगा हुआ था, his घुटना was not healing, knee was not healing properly. So mother shares that आपको you have to actually forget about that it is hurt. बिल्कुल अपने आप को, mother doesn't say that offer yourself somewhere else, but of course that was the practice all over. But she says that you will actually have to totally get it out of your head that knee is not okay. तब वो ठीक होगी। तो अगर कोई भी चीज हमें परेशान कर रही है, जो कि टाइम टाइम पे करती है ना, जो हमारे दिस लिटिल मी से रिलेटेड होती है, वी एक्चुअली हैव टू डू समथिंग वेयर वी समथिंग हायर, समथिंग लॉफ्टियर, जिसमें वो बिल्कुल भूल जाएं उसको कि वो था भी।
Correct.
Then mother says that then it will be healed, your knee will be healed. But if you keep thinking about that knee, तो फिर ये मत सोचना कि रेजोल्यूशन पॉसिबल है।
Yeah. So just one funny thing, because that sentence that you were sharing, that because earlier we used to harbor the fear for the purposes of survival against animals, and now once we are human, and that fear actually is not required. But funnily nowadays, like generally I fear less of animals. Even if there's a fear of a snake, I would I would not be afraid of it, because human beings are actually, all of us are much worse than the animals, because that is their nature to sort of kill for a living or whatever. But we invariably do a lot more harm than any animal would. So I think generally human nature has become, or I don't know, it has always been, it's very hard. I don't know, it's a lot of dirtiness that is involved. So my fear is always respect to humans and much lesser with animals. Animals are, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah. लेकिन वही है कि I think we have to work on this fear also. That's what mother is sharing. कि knowing that we are in the lap of mother, and nothing can happen to a mother's child. Nothing can happen. चाहे कितना भी बुरा से बुरा हो जाए, कुछ नहीं हो सकता। Mother's child, no, and mother says herself, I'm just rephrasing. Mother says that knowing that you are a mother's child and nothing can happen to a mother's child. So we have to cultivate that, because as we were reading unloveliness of human things, of course that is there. But by believing in that and not believing in what all are also our possibilities, I am actually becoming one of those unlovely human beings only. So to have cultivate, है ना, यही चीज हमें उस दिन हम बात कर रहे थे कि स्टोरी ऑफ, somebody was asking कि उल्टा ही क्यों है हमेशा, है ना, कि सब कुछ उल्टा ही क्यों है, अच्छा क्यों नहीं है, बाय डिफॉल्ट अच्छा क्यों नहीं है। तो मदर ने बोला है कि भैया उल्टा इसलिए क्योंकि पूरी सृष्टि उलट गई, है ना, ट्रुथ बिकेम फॉल्सहुड, ब्लिस बिकेम सफरिंग। अब डिजाइन ही ऐसा है क्रिएशन का, तो क्यों बार बार रोए कि उल्टा क्यों है। अब उल्टा है, मान लिया, टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड कि उल्टा है, हम क्या कर सकते हैं? अब हमारे लिए क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दी है मदर ने, कि अब उल्टा है, तभी तो हमको एबिलिटी दी है कि हम एफर्ट कर पाए, तभी तो हमको एक माइंड दिया है जिसमें पावर दिया है कि अच्छा नेगेटिव को पॉजिटिव में चेंज कर पाए। नहीं तो उस पावर का क्या फायदा है? सो अगेन दैट थिंग, वो जो एक होता है ना, एक गुरु नया नया सीख के आता है कि हर जगह ब्रह्म ही ब्रह्म है, हर जगह डिवाइन है। तो वो रास्ते में से आ रहा होता है, महावत बैठा होता है हाथी के ऊपर, और वो आ रहा है हाथी तुम्हारी तरफ। तो वो रास्ते से वो हटता ही नहीं है, वो कहता है कि अरे इसमें भी ब्रह्म है, मेरे गुरु ने बोला है, तो नथिंग कैन हैपन टू मी। वो महावत कह रहा है हट जा, सामने से हट जा। वो हटता ही नहीं है, और ही गेट काइंड ऑफ स्टॉर्म्ड अप बाय द एलिफेंट एंड लैंड्स अप अगेन विद द गुरु, एंड ही सेज कि ये क्या बता के आपने मेरे को बोला था कि हर जगह ब्रह्म ही ब्रह्म है? तो उसने बोला कि हाँ, हर जगह ब्रह्म है, तो वो जो ऊपर बैठा था हाथी के, वो भी तो ब्रह्म था, उसकी बात सुन लेता। है ना? तो वही है कि क्या हम सुनना चाह रहे हैं ना, कि माना गंदगी है, माना हर जगह अनलवलीनेस है, बट देर इज नो डर्थ ऑफ गुड थिंग्स ऑल्सो। So why am I choosing to focus on only the negative and the dark and the shadowy, knowing that even behind the shadowy only Krishna is hiding? है ना? To because these thoughts have power, जो भी हमारी thoughts हैं, they have power. So if we focus them on unloveliness only and the negatives only, then I am just contributing to that darkness only. Would I want to do that? Or to believe that no, there is a meaning in each curve and line, and everything will happen for good, and nothing can happen to the mother's child. उस पे भी विश्वास कर सकते हैं। Yeah. So let us continue on this passage next time, because this was just like beginning to reflect. Anything more? Any last comments before the end? I think I had shared this story once. I used to, when I was younger, I used to take lift in a car. So I had to travel from Gurgaon to Faridabad, which was like a long stretch of very wilderness. दोनों तरफ लाइट्स भी नहीं थी उस टाइम पे, ये गुड़गांव फरीदाबाद रोड पे, एंड इट वाज फुल ऑफ विल्डरनेस। कोई मतलब आता जाता भी लोग कम ही थे। तो वहां पे पहले बसेस भी नहीं चलती थी, और बसेस चलती थी तो बहुत कम चलती थी। आई यूज टू ट्रैवल फ्रॉम, आई वॉज अ टीचर इन अ स्कूल, सो आई यूज टू ट्रैवल फ्रॉम in the evening from Gurgaon to Faridabad on that stretch of about 20 kilometers. And I used to take lift in whatever car was going. It may be a cab, it may be like people going all by themselves, and I would just like those times I would take a lift. So once and I never felt, in those times I never felt कि अच्छा मुझे डरना चाहिए, डर नहीं लगा मुझे, लगा कि हाँ ले सकते हैं, ऐसा लगा, तो मैंने लेती रहती, मतलब आई डोंट नो वेदर माय मदर और फादर वुड हैव प्रॉब्लम विद दैट, बट आई यूज्ड टू टेक. So once what happened, just talking about this fear and these things, once what happened that I was taking a lift in a car, and from the very beginning it appeared that maybe something not right. But what, I just sat in the front with the car driver, and I started to talk with him कि अच्छा आपके घर में कौन है, अच्छा ये हैं, कहाँ के हो रहने वाले, these kind of familiar things, जिससे आपको थोड़ी सी एक familiarity लगती है. तो हुआ क्या कि within 10 minutes or so or 15 minutes or so, he actually stopped the car and he said कि मैं वहां नहीं जा रहा जहां आपको जाना है. So that was a very interesting happening for me, that he could have taken anywhere, that there was this vulnerability कि हाँ ठीक ही होगा. But I don't know what, grace only happened, that something in his being may have poked, that is my understanding, that he said कि कहानी यहीं खत्म करें. और and then of course I took another lift. मैं भी stubborn हूँ, जिद्दी हूँ, and then I took another lift from a different person going that way. सो आई थिंक रिस्की भी है, ये सारी चीजें करनी बहुत रिस्की है, बट मुझे लगता है कि जब हम इन रिस्क में हमको डालते हैं, लाइक वो एक तलवार की नोक पे चलते हैं, और अंदर एक सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ एक थोड़ा सा फेथ होता है, तो मुझे लगता है हमको लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस मिलते हैं जो हमारे लिए हेल्पफुल होते हैं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो डरना
So
नहीं
many
चाहिए मुझे लगता
experiences like this
है।
which we
या
have shared.
हाँ
When I was also young, and the same thing in Delhi, I was coming from Aligarh to Delhi NCRT. We had taken a course over there, and I sent the person who had come along with me to drop me. I said, I'll go to NCRT, and that bus stopped at IIT. It was dark, 7:30, something like that, 1976 I'm talking about. And then a person came in a scooter. Where do you want to go? There was no scooter, no auto. I had actually come to pick up somebody else, but now I can. एंड आई जस्ट सॉ इधर कि स्कूटर वालों से तो अच्छा ये व्यक्ति है, और इसकी आंखों में मैंने स्ट्रेट देखा और बैठ गई कि अगला स्टॉप ही तो है, मुझे आना। लेकिन विद ऑल प्रिपरेशन कि अगर ये इस गेट से आगे क्रॉस किया तो मैं कूद जाऊंगी स्कूटर से, चाहे जो हो, चाहे जो हो जाए, मैं कूद जाऊंगी। लेकिन वो अंदर तक गया, भला मानस, और उसने फिर कहा, और मैंने उनको धन्यवाद दिया और मैंने बोला। तो फिर ऊपर कहा कि नहीं, भगवान कहीं है जो हमारी रक्षा करता है। तो आपको देखना पड़ता है, करेज और फियर के बीच में बहुत बारीक सा वो रहता है। यू हैव
ब्यूटीफुल
टू टेक
ब्यूटीफुल,
डिसीजन।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और मुझे लगता है कि ऐसे जो रिस्की चीजें है ना, ये करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि है ना, मतलब अदरवाइज टू सेफ रह के फिर
दिन
कुछ
भर बचा बचा
एक्सपीरियंसेस नहीं
के
होते।
बचा
हाँ
बचा के रखो, उसमें हर चीज से बचा बचा के रखो, बचा
हाँ
बचा के रखो।
हाँ हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
श्रिंकिंग वाला एहसास
या
होता
एग्जैक्टली, श्रिंकिंग। या
But Monica, were you not scared in that ride?
एक्चुअली आई वाज नॉट स्कैर्ड, आई हैव टू से।
Okay. That is
आई
very
वाज, उनमें हो सकता है एक्चुअली, मैंने ना कभी अपने आप को एक, जैसे लड़की लड़की मानते हैं ना, और लड़कियों को बच के रहना चाहिए, मैंने कभी अपने आप को ज्यादा उस सेंस में देखा नहीं। आई थिंक इट वाज जस्ट मदर्स ग्रेस कि आई नेवर लुक्ड एट माई सेल्फ लाइक अ लड़की और मुझे बच के रहना है, मतलब मोर लाइक अ ह्यूमन बीइंग। तो फिर उसमें फिर डर भी नहीं लगा इतना। एंड आई हैव डन मेनी सच थिंग्स विच फॉर अदर्स में साउंड रियली लाइक कि तुम 12 बजे रात को कैसे जॉगिंग कर सकते हो, या रात को 1 बजे 2 बजे कैसे निकल सकते हो। But I think that has only given me, with Mother's grace, that has only given me more faith that if we trust in a universe which is for us and not against us, then it actually makes that happen. The universe is for us, not against us, है ना। ये पूरी जो दुनिया है, ये हमको खाने के लिए नहीं भाग रही है, ये हम उसकी लैप में हैं, हम वी आर इन द लैप ऑफ द मदर, वी आर इन द लैप ऑफ द डिवाइन, एंड विद ऑल एक्सपीरियंसेस वी कैन लर्न। और होता क्या है कि जब हम फियरफुल होते हैं, फिर हमको लोग भी ऐसे मिलते हैं जो एक्चुअली में हमको कुछ करना चाहते हैं। ये क्योंकि बिल्कुल वैसे ही रिफ्लेक्ट, जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि द यूनिवर्स इज एज इफ मदर सेज अदर्स आर योर मिरर। तो अगर वो दूसरा बंदा ऐसा मिल गया, इसका मतलब अच्छा मैंने क्या वाइब्रेशन ऐसी दी जो वो दूसरा बंदा मुझे ऐसा दिख रहा है और फील अपीयर कर रहा है। तो अगेन लॉट्स ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शंस दैट वी कैन डू, नॉट ऑल ब्लैक एंड वाइट, बट या।
बट ये हिंट तो मिलता है कि देयर इज ए नीड टू फॉर सेल्फ करेक्शन, लाइक इन दिस विजिट तारू टोल्ड मी व्हेन आई हैड टू टेक टैक्सी इन द मिडनाइट, एंड आई सेड नहीं नहीं, तो व्हाई, तो इट मेड मी टू थिंक अबाउट इट कि एक तरफ तो हम कहते हैं कि ये है और दूसरी तरफ है। तो मेरा जो रात में टैक्सी लेने का फियर था, वो चेन्नई, पौंडीचेरी से चेन्नई वाले में एक्चुअली एक फियर, जैसे sometimes it happens that this fear may be from your previous birth also. Like I had this fear of that that somebody will take me like auto से मुझे कहीं दूसरी जगह ले जाएगा and will do something wrong with me, and why I was obsessed. It started to be initial stages mein I was very courageful, very not fearful, but later on what I think happened that I became fearful. So ये जो मेरी प्रैक्टिस थी कि ऑटो से अकेले नहीं जाना है, टैक्सी नहीं लेना है, वो बस से जाना है लंबी रास्ते तय करने, धीरे 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 आई प्रैक्टिस्ड इट। एंड एज यू सेड कि मैं ऐसी बातें करने लगी कि फियर कम हो किसी का, और वाइब्रेशन, और अंदर अपने फियर को हटाकर और फेथ को स्ट्रॉन्ग किया, तो बाहर की जो सिचुएशंस हैं वो धीरे धीरे, एंड आई ग्रेजुअली ओवरकम दिस फियर ऑफ बीइंग टेकन समवेयर एल्स। So this was just for I was sharing for Charu or younger people like that.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Muslim. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mona.
You
It
have to
gives a
work
lot to
on your fear,
introspect. You have
right?
to work
Yes.
on it. Right?
Yes.
मैं अपने बच्चों को कहती हूँ कि जहां पे डर लग रहा है वो तो करना ही करना है। तो चाहे कितना भी रो पिट के करो, एट टाइम्स आई कैन बी वेरी क्रूअल, मुझे लगता है जितना भी रो पिट के करो, डर लग रहा है इसका मतलब करना है। सो देयर वाज दिस वन, इन नैनीताल देयर वाज दिस कैंप where I took my children once, and it was a rock climbing, and lots of young people were there and doing all these activities. So my children are also doing. Now the elder one did it very easily. He didn't think much, but the younger one, looking at how it appeared to be like, he became afraid of rappelling. And मैं वहां पे ठन मतलब आई वॉज वेरी स्टबन, मैं उसके साथ बैठ गई, मैंने कहा देख आनंद, तूने तो ये करना ही कर रहा है, अब तू डिसाइड कर ले इसके बाद तूने आइसक्रीम खानी है या क्या करना है, बट तूने करना ही करना है. सो फॉर हाफ एन आवर और 40 मिनट्स आई वॉज विद हिम, अराउंड हिम, कि सोच ले, करना मतलब सोचना नहीं है बट करना है, जहां पे डर लग रहा है वहां पे करना है. एंड यू वुड नॉट बिलीव, ऑन अदर हैंड इट वुड अपीयर कि हाउ क्रूअल अ मदर आई एम, कि इतना रुला रुला के बच्चे को. But actually what happened, I was amazed to see his change in energy. So half the wall, he was like, he said, अच्छा मैं कर लेता हूँ. On the ice cream, I give the lalach of ice cream, and then he said कि मैं कर लेता हूँ. And then half the wall, he was like very shrinking, कि e. And suddenly in the lower half of the wall, he really became relaxed. And the moment we came up from down the hill, he was a changed person altogether and not the same person who went down the hill.
Oh.
So I was so amazed to see the energy in change in his being, कि ये हुआ क्या, मुझे भी नहीं पता था ये होने वाला है, मैं तो बस अपनी तरफ से whatever पैंतरे आजमा सकती थी आजमा रही थी. But I was amazed that he became so free, as if कि कोई burden उसके shoulder से हट गया हो. That energy change I could feel. And again, not saying that every time one may be able to do that, but whenever one can do that. There was another occasion where we had to cross something, and here only in Gurgaon there was this kind of lots of adventure activities, and there he actually, to the last moment, I was not able to convince him कि ये कर ले, मतलब तेरे लिए अच्छा रहेगा, and that is okay too. And then he said कि फिर उसको बोला, मैंने कहा अगली बार मैं मतलब वो जो जगह है वहां पे तभी जाऊंगी जब आनंद बोलेगा मम्मी आज मैं रेडी हूँ करने के लिए. So again we have to, as we were discussing, there is no formula, and we have to see context to context.
Right. But this fighting of fear is very essential. बहुत थोड़ा 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 होता है, और एक साथ हम इसको नहीं कर सकते, बहुत स्टेप्स में ही ये फियर हमारा जाता है.
True, very true.
अननोन पर्सन, टैक्सी लेना, और जैसे आप किसी जर्नी के लिए जा रहे हैं, किसी दूसरे ने बोला अच्छा देखिए आप वहां जा रही हैं, आप वो बस से जाइएगा, टैक्सी मत लीजिएगा. अब समझ में आ गया कि ये तो कीड़ा घुस गया यहाँ पे कि टैक्सी मत लीजिएगा. एंड माइंड है, और फिर सोच रहे हैं कि यार पहले, इसके पहले तो जाकर टैक्सी लेते रहे हैं, देखा है बंदे को, रोकिया, टैक्सी लिया, चल दिए. अब इस व्यक्ति ने कह दिया कि पहचान का लीजिएगा, नहीं लीजिएगा, तो यू हैव टू फाइट विद दिस फियर. और नहीं, ये नहीं करना है और ये करना है. हाँ, लेकिन अलर्ट रहना है. ये भी नहीं कि एकदम चले जा रहे हैं, बिल्कुल कहीं कोई जंगल में लिए जा रहा है. अलर्ट रहना है, लेकिन इसको नहीं करना है कि बिना पहले से किए हुए, और टैक्सी नहीं लेना है इसको. लाइक यू सेड कि अगर जहां डर लगा उसको तो करना ही करना है. तो वो एक बार थोड़ा सा इंडल्ज करना पड़ता है, अदरवाइज ये फियर जाता नहीं.
We read one Swami Vivekananda story. It was near Lajman or somewhere near the mountain, and he used to go for meditation to a place there. It was a jungle-like place and all. So one day he was coming back after doing this meditation, and then he was attacked by the tall monkeys. Actually, they're Hanuman. Those that black face and things like that, long tail.
Langur.
Langur. So there are a group of them, and they were following him. So he thought that they may harm or something on the inside. So then he also started moving a little faster, and they also started moving a little faster. And when he was about to run, and they were creating some sound and all this, and they were enjoying it actually, that he is getting scared of this thing. So he started running. Vivekananda started running, and they also started running and attacking. A lot of sounds they were making and all this sound. So then suddenly some thought came to his mind, Vivekananda. He just turned around. And he saw that they also immediately stopped. And then he was trying to approach them. And with some courage, he was acting as if he's picking up some stone from the ground or something and all. And they started running. So the scene changes actually. You say when I was in fear actually, that maybe that heavenly God or somebody must have told it that see whenever you are getting scared, you have to go opposite, and then that your inside that strength will come up. Inside strength will come. It is not in a position to express to be expressed. So once you do that, and then you can say any difficulty or anything comes, and if you firmly decide that yes, I have to.
Very true. Very true.
Like you have been saying, no, that इसको डर लगा है, तो हमें तो करना ही है,
Mm.
देखते कैसे. So that only will kill. Otherwise, there is no other solution.
True, true.
This is the
Mother says that whatever we fear, we actually make it bigger.
yes.
So very interesting. All right. So we maybe take a pause here for today, and just before we end, let's take a moment of silence to share whatever merit, collected or individual, sharing it with all the sentient beings near and far. May all the suffering and the causes of suffering be taken away from us. And may everyone have true happiness and true wellness within and without. And all the causes of true happiness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.